What's up guys, Jack here with MTS, and before I get started I want to say that this is not the type of content that I regularly am going to be posting on this channel. This is just a quick little personal project that I've just now been able to really finish up, and the first video I've been able to film since I just finished my first year of college today, about 3 hours ago to be more specific. But anyway guys, let's get right into it.
A lot of you might recognize this as my Yamaha TF1 digital soundboard. Now, in preparation for me building out a new rack, I've been going through all of my equipment and just making sure that everything's on the up and up and that everything is in perfectly functional order, when I found a dead fader on my TF1. Now, it's fader 16, so it's not one that I commonly use, but still, it was dead, so I disassembled the board, tried to fix it. As you can see, the board doesn't have all of its screws in it, but I ordered a new fader. I tried to just replace the motor, which is the part that was dead, but I couldn't find just the motor. It's a special part SKU that I cannot get access to, so I had to just buy a new fader. And this is a TF1 fader. Now, I don't have the motor on here, so the belt I have to kind of hold in place in order to get the fader to move, but the motor on this died, so we had to swap out this whole fader with a brand new part. Now, the brand new part comes with the motor, comes with it all, you know, tensioned up properly and all the cables, and so slides nice and smooth. So let's get this board pulled apart, put in the new fader, put on all of our fader caps, and just make sure that this board is in perfectly working order. Alright, so I should be able to just lift the whole console off, seeing as I have all of the screws out of it. And I was correct, we can lift this off, and honestly, I don't even think I'm gonna have to disconnect anything. I've disconnected it all before, so I know how it goes together. I've repaired some of these boards here, but right up here is where our fader goes. So I'm gonna adjust the camera angle, let's get a better view of this, and see where the new fader needs to go in. Alright, so right here is where our replacement fader needs to go. I've already taken out the other fader, that's how I was able to show it to you earlier. But so these faders just slot in to the screw, the bottom screw does not come out all the way, and we align the top fader screw, and now I can go to my little container of parts. This is just an old electrical tape container, and that's what I use to keep little parts in for ongoing projects. So I can just pick any of the black screws. Yamaha is really good about using the same parts throughout all of their consoles, so all of the screws that are black in this console are all the same screws, so you don't have to worry about the size or anything. And then there are 4 silver screws, or there are 5 silver screws that go along the bottom of it, but those again are also the same size screw, they're just a different color. So thank you Yamaha for making something that's very repairable, especially with this being a professional piece of equipment. And tighten the bottom screw. Now this fader, I'm lucky that it was this fader that died because this one's really easy to access. I don't need a slimmer screwdriver for this. We can go ahead and grab our fader wire here. Now this is essentially what sets volume level and allows the fader to actually work. And then we have our motor wire, which is responsible for the flying part of flying faders, or motorized, whatever you want to call them. I like to call them flying faders because it sounds a lot more fun. Alright, and with our wires tucked up, just kind of want to make sure everything's on the up and up here. This all feels good to me, so I'm going to close up the console. I'm not going to screw it all back together yet. I'm just going to close it up, and we're going to fire it up and see if it works. We have the board turning on. What I really want to do is check the tension of all of these other faders here and just make sure that when I adjust them, if I adjust the value manually here through either the touch and turn or through the touch screen, that the fader actually keeps up. That usually will tell me whether or not I have enough tension on all of the faders. My apologies for the flickering. There's nothing I can do about it, seeing as the screen refreshes at a different rate than all of the buttons and stuff, so I either get the screen really stroby or I get the lights and everything here really stroby. So it was just kind of a pick your poison type thing. I want to take a look at channel 16. It's already moved into a position here, so that's good. I'm going to turn on the channel, select it, and I'm going to adjust it with touch and turn, and look at that. I don't know how well you can see it, so I'll put a fader cap on it, but the fader is now moving itself. I want to take a look at channel 15 as well. 15 and 14 are linked together, but as you can see, 15 is keeping up, 14 is not. 14 requires a little bit of persuasion to move along with the rest of the group. So I'm going to also take a look at 13. 13 seems to be keeping up pretty good. 12 seems like even minute little adjustments, and if I throw it,
Yep, it seems to be keeping up. So I guess it's channel 14 that I need to take a look at. So luckily I didn't screw this whole thing back together because we need to take a look at channel 14 and readjust the tension on this one. We have channel 16, 15, 14. 14 right here is what I want to go ahead and take out. It's a little bit sloppy in there, so I'm going to go ahead and just tighten it up a little bit and see if that does the job. Alright, so fader 14 is what we're looking at here. As you can see, it's not exactly keeping up. I don't know what's happening with it. I'm going to take a look on the other side and make sure that when I'm moving it, the motor's at least trying to move the fader. Because that could be a burnt out motor as well. I don't exactly know what this issue is. The fader appears to be at least the fader doesn't appear to even attempt to keep up. If I move it, it just doesn't do anything. So I think maybe it's a little bit too tight now. I'm gonna loosen it up and just try the opposite direction. With minute adjustments, it's fine, but overall, it's not something I want to rely on. So I am going to go ahead and order a new fader for channel 14, but I have an event coming up where I'm going to need to use this console before I know that I'm going to be able to get a new fader. So I'm going to go ahead and just throw the board back together and at least have my working channel 16, which was not working at all before. So I don't know, it's not 100% perfectly fixed, but we have channel 16 fixed, and I know that I need to order a new one for 14. Again, I have an event coming up, which is why I'm not just going to leave the board open. I'm going to have to screw it back together, but I'm only going to probably use about half of the screws. I'm very gentle with this board. It doesn't get thrown around, so only putting in half of the screws when I take it to my next event shouldn't be a problem at all, but that's the plan for now. And this is the board I'll put back together. But yeah, guys, so we were able to fix one of the channels on my soundboard today. Now, let this be a lesson. If something that you have doesn't work, try and fix it. Because a lot of times you can get some replacement parts and it's a lot less expensive and a lot better for the environment than just throwing the product away and buying a new one. But anyway, guys, thank you all for watching. Like this video if you liked it. If you didn't like it, well then, I don't know, there's another button. But anyway, guys, thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.